All right, in 5-2, we're going to go over congruent triangles. So these are triangles that are the same shape and the same size. So the main thing that we want to think about here is which angles go together and are matching and what sides are matching. So in this example, they are asking you to identify what parts are the same. And in this case, we're going to match up the number of dashes or the number of arcs. So if I was to match this first one with the one dash along the side, BC would go with this XY piece because they both have one dash on each of the sides. So if this one was a measure of 2, then this one would have to be a measure of 2 as well. So then you're just going to go through and you're going to identify, okay, if this one has 4 dashes, I would find the one that has 4 dashes as well. And then those two would be matching. So if this was a measure of 5, this one would be a measure of 5. And the same goes for the angles. So if I was to come along here and say, okay, this one has 2 arcs, the one that it goes with, this is angle B. This one would go with angle X. So they would have the same angle measure. So maybe it's 100 degrees and 100 degrees. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example. Let's scroll to the bottom here. All right. So these are going to be two congruent triangles. And instead of labeling this with dashes, they gave you the symbols up top. So they told you that RS and V equals TVS. So what that means is that R is congruent to T because they appear first. See how they appear first in the triangle? S goes with V, and then V is congruent to S, which makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and match up the congruent pieces. First thing I'm going to do is find out what angle R is, because I think that's going to help us here. I know that R and T happen to be the same, these two. But because there's no information on the right triangle, I'm going to solve the left one and know that R and T are going to be the exact same. So to find R, we're going to take 180 minus the 90 in the corner here for angle S minus the 78. 180 minus 90 minus 78. We are left with 12. So that means this X also has to be 12 because we have congruent triangles. R and T angles are congruent. So now I have to figure out which piece goes with my other variable. Here's the other part. Now I have two numbers here, the 24.5 and the 24, and I have to pick the right one. Keep in mind that R and S is the part that I have my variable on, and that appears in the first two spots on your label. So that means it appears in the first two spots on the other triangle. So TV, that appears here. So I know that the 2y minus 1 goes with the 24. Okay, add the 1. So y equals 14 point, no, is that right? 22.5? 12.5. 12.5 when you divide them by 2.